anyone that isn't aware of these two cases, then, you've been sleeping under a rock and buried underneath a pile of mud and stuff like that. It was two cases. It was the main one was a California case where Meta and YouTube, were sued by the plaintiff for what they called internet addiction and other mental health issues. And then in New Mexico, there was a lawsuit against Meta for failure to properly warn the parents and provide proper protections against internet predators and other issues like that. The bottom line came out is that the jury, both these cases went to jury. And the difference here now is that these are trial level cases. So if anyone's unfamiliar with trial level cases, this is just the beginning. And whether or not this actually appeared for the Supreme Court, everyone's like, oh, this will get to the Supreme Court. I don't think it will. And here's the reasoning behind it. So these two cases are that in California, the jury found and the court sort of basically directed that Meta and YouTube did not advise or give strong enough parental warnings to warn against potential issues regarding adolescents and their mental health and other things that could be affected by Meta and YouTube. And the court, in its rulings and arguments, focused in on various issues where they said that they weren't looking and to sort of differentiate it from what Rob was talking about with First Amendment speech and other discussions. The court separated out to a certain degree the First Amendment claims and Section 230 claims for protections against internet service providers and things like that, where there was another Supreme Court case that just was decided this past month, which ruled in favor of internet service providers, saying that Florida and Texas cannot impose restrictions on what you restrict on your platform. They can't tell you what you can't or can't do on your platform. These cases basically came out and said, we're not looking at that issue. We're not looking at the content so much as we are the practice of Meta and YouTube, where it's how their platforms are designed, how their algorithms are designed to basically get adolescents hooked in, where it's the automatic playing. It's so how the algorithms get you, like, you might also like this, and the constant doom scrolling, where they said that Meta was actually designed, and there was actually studies Meta did, which shows that it was adverse to mental health, but they decided to go ahead with it anyway. Sort of like the Ford Pinto claim, where, it's even though I know that this is wrong, I'm going to do this until I get enough fines against me to make it no longer profitable.
Cost efficient, right?
Not saying that they did that, but that's what it looked like. So those are two big rulings.
And let's be clear. There's no problem whatsoever for people to be addicted to the Republic if you can keep it podcast.
Exactly. Yeah, and we designed this to make you hooked into us. Anyway, so these are decisions that came out against Meta, against YouTube, and I'll try and find the podcast that we discussed it on, and I'll put it on in the links. But when asked by one of the DJs, where do you see this going? I'm like, well, what I see is that this is going to be something where it's not the end of social media. They're just going to be taking more affirmative actions. And I think it's going to be something that this isn't going to be appealed, other than mainly maybe the monetary amount, but they're not going to look to overturn it completely because, it's very hard. There's a smoking gun in this case, and that they're going to basically adjust their platforms to be more so that parents actually, God forbid, take agency and be parents.
No,
Lou
and I are on the same page with that. It's not going to be appealed to the Supreme Court. There's going to be deals that are going to be struck in order to continue the business going, but maybe under different pretenses. And as Lou said, hopefully parents will actually exert their agency and actually do the responsible thing and be parents.